What's going on, guys? So today we're looking at a pretty interesting knife from Portugal. This is a MAM knife. It's spelled M-A-M, but I watched a video from the owner who pronounced it MAM, so we'll go with that. Got this from another YouTuber, an online buddy of mine I've known for many, many years, but he wished to be anonymous, so unfortunately I can't give him credit here. But you know who you are. Thank you very much. Sent me this knife because he knows I'm interested in all kinds of different cutlery, as well as a really cool lighter, which I've been using as well. So, yes, M-A-M, pronounced MAM. Most people probably say ma'am, which I guess some moms are called ma'am, depending on who's talking to them. But anyway, this is a Portuguese company from 1870 until current day. You can see it on the logo here. It does say Portugal since 1870. This is essentially the Portuguese Opinel. We all know the Opinel knives, which I have a set off camera here for a second. I will, of course, bring it in a little bit later to do a comparison. But basically, this is their version of a peasant's knife, okay? Very, very simple to make, very simple design, very affordable. They do all kinds of cutlery. This is one of their folding liner locks, all right? So if I open this up, you can see there is a liner lock here. It's a reverse liner lock, so you push it up, all right, to unlock it. We're mostly used to pushing down to unlock liner locks, all right? This is the same style that you see like on Victorinox, seems to be, you know, a world style outside the US, but most US knives, of course, we're used to pushing the other direction. So going back to the logo here, the MAM were the initials for the original creator of the company. I believe his name was Manuel Antonio Martins. When he passed away, it was left to his son, and then when his son passed away, it was left to his grandson. His grandson, I believe, is currently the owner and CEO of this company. And very much like Opinel Knives, there's a ton of different models, okay? This is just one of the locking models. They have smaller ones, larger ones. This one is in beechwood, all right? They have other types of woods. Some newer ones have like titanium coated blades, you know, to kind of keep with the modern market and stuff. Just really interesting. A peasant's knife is basically an affordable knife. I wouldn't really say it's a throwaway, but that's how people look at them. You use them and use them and use them, but because they're so cheap, once they break, you throw them out. You replace them because they're very, very affordable. These knives sell anywhere from, not this specific one, but this entire brand, as low as $3 for a simple steak knife. They also do forks and spoons and regular cutlery as well, all kinds of kitchen stuff. But like for a folding knife like this, the average price is probably around, I don't know, anywhere from $7 to $12. I've seen them as high as like 16 or 17 for some models, but it's very, very affordable. As far as the blade goes, let's zoom in on that so you can see again the logo. It says Inox Portugal. All right, this is just a German stainless steel. That's all we know about this blade. It seems to me like a lot of countries outside the US, they'll just say things like that, like it's stainless, or it's carbon steel, or it's German, or it's Italian steel, or whatever they say. Usually there's not a whole lot of detail like, you know, manufacturers in the US. We very much want to know exactly what steel it is because we're into that kind of stuff. But they're just basically, like a lot of other companies, like, oh no, it's good German stainless steel. It's made in Germany, so we're good to go. They tout that, you know, it's a flexible steel, but, you know, holds a decent edge. I've used this mostly for food prep so far. Not a whole lot of use on this one. I'm actually giving this to my wife so she can use it. She found it very interesting. And that's the reason why I was gifted this knife, is because my wife grew up in a Portuguese home. I mean, born and raised in America. She's American, but her heritage is Portuguese. She's actually half Puerto Rican. But growing up, you know, grandmother speaking Portuguese, whole family speaking Portuguese. It's just anything that's Portugal or Portuguese related is always extra fascinating to me because of her. That's it. I didn't know much about the country or the heritage or anything about it until I met her. So it's just kind of extra cool. Now, as I mentioned before, the company makes a ton of different models. I mean, all different types of knives as far as looks and styles, and some are locking, some are non-locking. This is kind of the middle ground. They do make much smaller ones. They make little keychain ones, very similar to Opinel, as well as larger ones in this. Specific specs on this particular one, 3¼ inch blade, all right, 4-inch handle, making it 7¼ inches overall. As far as the liner lock, there's just like a tiny bit of play, not much. As far as construction, you can see it's just one solid piece of beechwood, okay? It's milled out, and you can see that there's a stainless bolster that's wrapped around almost like a skin, as you can see the wood underneath it. All right, we have our blade. We have very short liner lock. It doesn't run the whole length of the wood. All right, this is to keep it very lightweight. So it's just a little run right there. Okay, like I said, I mean, it does lock up. There's just a little touch of play. I've only had this one particular model, so I don't know if they're all like that or not. You know, but it does lock up enough for, you know, general use. This is, I wouldn't say, a very hard use knife. As mentioned before, food prep, totally fine. A couple little cutting tests here and there. You know, an EDC for lighter duty, yeah, it worked totally fine. It's nice and light. And all these parts are held together by one simple rivet that goes through everything, all right, around that bolster. But yeah, just pretty interesting knife. I do love, you know, trying different types of cutlery all around the world. Again, as mentioned, the Portuguese connection is just kind of fun and cool to me. Overall, it's a pretty interesting knife, all right? I grabbed my set of Opinels here, all right? So we're going back to France for a second. And a lot of people are familiar with the Opinel knives, but these, very similar in that it's one solid piece of wood. Same thing with a bolster that goes around. The difference here is the collar lock, all right, or bolster lock. Depending on who you talk to, they would say different things. But if you've never seen one of these knives before, how these work, all right, is that there's a little cutout here, top and bottom of the bolster, so it actually rotates. It rotates around, which gets in the way of that blade from closing. Okay, so that's how it locks. It's a little bit of a stronger lock, obviously, than the liner lock, but overall it's the same type of feel. Actually, let's get the, since I have a selection here, the appropriate size model, which I guess would be this one. All right. These are stiff because I haven't used these. They're brand new still. But yeah, actually I could probably go one smaller. There we go. So there's the equivalent. France, Portugal. Bolster or collar lock, liner lock. Reverse liner lock, I guess you'd call it. I don't know. Just because it's on the opposite side. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely put them in the same range as far as, you know, usability. They're both very affordable. The MAM knives tend to be a little bit cheaper. All right, but if you want to use it a little bit harder, that collar lock or bolster lock is definitely a stronger design. One quick note before I go. I did use this enough to start to dull it a little bit, and it's stropped up very, very easily. So I do believe it is on the softer side as far as stainless knives go. This happens to be an Opinel carbon steel set. However, I would say it's very comparable to the stainless that Opinel uses as well. Much more softer. It is a very, very thin blade stock. I think it's 0.07 inches. Okay, you can see it's about the same as the Opinels. All right, so generally speaking, because you have a nice thin blade, even if it starts to get a little bit on the dull side, if you're doing food prep and stuff, it will still perform because it's thinner. All right, when you have a much thicker blade stock, that's when you really notice right away because there's a lot more resistance in cutting. All right, so just a quick note there, softer stainless steel, but very easy to sharpen up, I would imagine, based on, you know, how easy it was to strop. So that's it, guys. Again, special thank you to the person who sent this. Really do appreciate it. As far as the lighter goes, unrelated to this video, really, really cool. So stay tuned. If you're into lighter stuff, you'll see that video soon as well. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.